All right, how y'all doing? Some of life's funkiest experiences make some of the best stories. And this is a case in point with this story, which I call The Power of Love. It was 1988 and 89. I was traveling around the south of India, going to temples and ashrams and getting my spiritual groove on, you know what I'm saying? So some friends of mine had showed up in a town called Pondicherry to visit the Sri Aurobindo ashram. We arrived in the town and my two friends went directly to the main ashram hotel, the Park Guest House. I told them I'd see them there later. I wasn't in a hurry, wasn't in a worry. It was the hot season in the south of India. 120 degrees in the shade. The guidebook said at this time of year, you didn't have to worry about getting a room because nobody in their right mind would be there, but me and my friends. So after roaming the town a little while, I showed up at the Park Guest House. As I walked up to the steps to the lobby, I noticed that this elderly Indian woman gave me a very dirty look. And then she said something to the man sitting behind the desk. I went up to this gentleman. He says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I'd like a room." "We don't have any rooms." "Really?" "Keys all over the board, up, down, and sideways." I said, "Well, did so-and-so and so-and-so check in?" asking about my two friends who just happened to be white. And he looked and said, "Yes, they did." Now, I'm picking up on something, duh. But I don't want to believe what I'm picking up on because I'm at an ashram, a spiritual place. But I maintain my spiritual cool. "When will you have some rooms available?" "Maybe in a couple of days." "Okay, fine." I go check into another hotel. The next morning, I'm having breakfast with my friends in this hotel restaurant. And there's another friend of mine who had checked into the hotel the previous evening after I'd been by there. Now, I maintain a positive attitude. Some rooms must have suddenly become available. So I go to the lobby to check it out. And there's that woman, the one who gave me the dirty look, sitting behind the desk, checking some people in. So I'm standing to the side, waiting for her to take care of her business. And she looks at me and says, "What do you want?" with attitude. I said, "Well, I came to see if you had some rooms available." "No, we don't have any rooms for you. This isn't just some hotel. This is for people who are coming for the Sri Aurobindo ashram." Like I'm halfway around the world and I don't know this. Now, I am P.O.'d. I've had enough of this town. I've had enough of this ashram. I make arrangements to leave the following evening. The next morning, I go back to have breakfast with my friends in this hotel restaurant, only place in town with whole wheat toast. I'm a whole wheat toast kind of guy. As I'm trying to go into the restaurant, I am physically barred from entering and told that I have to go get this person's permission to go in. Now, time out. You're talking about your former 60s militant type. I know how to yell, scream, cuss, and fuss. Ain't done it in a while, but I still remember how. But I maintain my spiritual equanimity. They tell me I have to go see this woman in the lobby. I go to the lobby. There she is sitting behind the desk. I says, "Madam, is there some problem? I'm just going to have breakfast with my friends. I was just in here yesterday. May I go in?" "No, you wait in the lobby." "Oh, it's on now." "She done messed with the wrong person now. I'm getting ready to raise some cane up in here. And just as I'm getting ready to let loose, this voice in my head says, "This is a test. It's easy to love those that love you. The test is to love those that hate you." And I figure this woman qualifies. Now you must understand that love was not uppermost in my mind in terms of things that I wanted to send her. I can think of this hot, fiery place I would joyfully have sent her and happily use my size 12s to help her get there. So I'm thinking love, and I'm thinking about the Fred Sanford kind of love. And then I remember reading about auras, the energy that surrounds every living thing. And I remember reading that pink was the color that represented divine love. And I figure we definitely needed some divine love up in here. So mentally, I enveloped her in a bubble of pink light. And I started pumping pink at her butt. I mean, I was pumping pink, I was pumping pink, I was pumping pink. I worked up a sweat pumping pink. I did that for about 10, 15 minutes. The woman comes over to me, totally different demeanor, totally different tone of voice. Are your friends in the restaurant? I'm from Chicago originally. I'd be suspicious. I'm like, what's up? Am I getting set up or what? What's going on? She said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. You wouldn't let me go see. She says, oh, we'll go. Please go. And she personally escorted me into the restaurant. And as I was walking into the restaurant and looked back at her, I realized I had experienced the power of love. So that was 1989. 1992, I would become a professional storyteller. I went to one of the storytelling groups, community storytellers in Los Angeles, and I told this story. And after the meeting, people were coming up and telling me what a wonderful story that was. Oh, that's a great story, Michael, that's a wonderful story. And just so you know, I am someone who is not uncomfortable receiving praise. You might want to remember that for later. So I'm like, yes, I'm bad, bow down, okay, I'm all that. Oh, yeah. But this one friend seemed to be particularly moved by the story. A couple of months later, after this meeting, my friend comes up to me and says, Michael, let me tell you what happened. It seems that at her job, her boss had made it her personal mission to give my friend unholy hell each and every day. And this particular day, my friend decided she was going to do the pink thing. She would send love. If not love, she would send like. If not like, you don't send those, I want to choke you around your neck thoughts. You do the best you can. So she'd been doing that all morning. All the employees were sitting together at lunch in a little lunchroom. My friend sitting here talking to someone across the table, the boss sitting next to her talking to someone there. All of a sudden, the boss turned to her and started to engage her in pleasant, complimentary conversation. And from that day on, there was no more mess between them. The power of love. Now, I'm going to fess up. I passed that particular test. I'll take a pass-fail. I have flunked quite a few. But it is worth the effort. And that's the end of that one.